G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. I'm David. Today I want to have a look at this Shimpaku juniper that I've showcased in my previous videos quite a few times, and I've taken lots of air layers off. Now I just want to maybe start to think about the styling of this tree. Now it's probably a good idea to take you through the thought process more than anything about how you would come up with a style for this tree. Now you would see there's some gins here and some cut off pieces here. Now this had a couple of branches here, I just cut them off and put them as cuttings. This has come out because of LA trees off this tree. So, you know, I've slowly removed the bits I didn't need by air layering or doing cuttings from them. This tree's actually taken quite a few cuttings before, LAs off it before, but now it's ready for a styling. Now, first thing I look at is what I want to really focus on is try and get the best view of this tree, like the thought process. How do you come up with the design? How do you envision where you want to take this tree? It really is a nice piece of material to start with. The foliage is all up here, which I'm not too fussed about. We can always wire things and move things into place and so on, but it's how do we start? Where do we start? Well, what do I look at? What do I do? Well, now everyone's got an opinion on which way you should go and how you should do it, and what's a good tree and what isn't, and what you want to make it look like. But let's talk about the features of the tree first. Now, you can probably see it's a really nice, got lots of movement. It's going to be an interesting tree because this big piece has been killed off. So I'm thinking there'll be nice shari down here, in this tree in the future. So does this mean this is a nice front? That's a kind of thinking. There's a magnificent abari just, I think, in your front there. Let me just check it. Yeah, it's pretty much a sensational abari, like a root spread right around here. On the other side, might not have, we can't see much, but probably doesn't have as good as a root spread as the other side. But I guess the benefit of this side is the whole tree is actually comes forward. You notice how all the branches are here. Whereas if you put it from this end, from this wing, which is the Benanabari, all the foliage is actually, you can see it's at the back. If this was the front, it's all at the back. So how do we deal with that? And the whole tree kind of goes to the back. You see all these branches kind of are in the back over here, right in the front. So there's some of the things you have to think about, like, and I'm looking at this tree. If you pick this in here, the front, you've got this branch here. You can get rid of it by ginning it, which could be nice. Make a little gin here and a shari here, that's fine. That's got a nice gin here, we'll shorten that up in the future. Create a shari down the trunks, that's all doable. But, even though that's the best Nabari, which is probably the nice focal point, it's also got really nice movement. The only problem is the tree is all the way at the back. So here, see how the foliage is all at the back. We could wire things around, but let's start with another thing. Let's angle the tree differently. Who's to say we need to work and style the tree like that? Let's angle it differently and come up with a better design. Now, I was thinking at least, now if you saw me put a chocolate wood at the back. You probably can't see it in the mirror. Probably can't see it in the camera, but I'll just tilt the camera and you'll see how there's a chocolate wood just there underneath that, putting in the tree at that angle. Now, if I spin the tree back to you, let me just support it a bit more so it doesn't fall. Okay, now if I spin it back to you, it actually kind of emphasizes the Nabari more, the tree's coming forward a bit more, and the foliage is now, see how the foliage is more, like imagine the pot was like this flat like that. So imagine the pot was flat, I'm trying to do a flat. See how the foliage now is kind of on top of it? So it's on top, it's not at the back anymore. It's come forward and it's come back on the top. So that's the thinking. So by changing that angle, the whole tree now is moving forward. And when we repot this tree, we'll repot it in this angle. Now, if I take this, the other thing is if I take this and go, I'm just getting a bit of metal or a bit of wire. And if I put that, I'll put that vertically in the pot, like see how it's vertical in the pot. I know that if I spin this back, oops, I don't want to fool that. If I spin this back around or around to you guys, I'll show you. Let's hope this makes sense. So So now you can see the front of the tree. You see that straight, and it's actually 90 degrees to the floor. It's not 90 degrees to the pot, it's 90 degrees to the floor. So imagine that pot was then, we had a pot, that is 90 degrees. So then when you take this off and go back to this way, you see how the wire is pointing back this way? It means that is not, I have to make sure I push it in a bit further, but that means that I need to always tilt the tree back like that to make it back to 90 degrees. Okay, so that's one thing. It's a nice little, I don't know, something I've just picked up from somewhere somehow. I can't even remember where, but it seems to work well, and it's actually a good thing. Okay, so now got the new front, got the new tree. That's what we're going to work with. I think that's the best. I think that's the best Nabari. I think now the tree's always forward, and now what do we do next? Okay, so. And what I want to try and do, I'll try and show you guys with this angle, is I need these branches to come right the way down. Like I really want to get this tree low, like get branches coming in down here, down here, down here, again on this side as well. Like I want to really bring the tree down. Like everything's really way up too high. I might just bring the tree back a bit. See how the tree's all the way too high? That's the plan. I want to try and get some of these branches much further down, bring them right down. Now I just got to think about what I'm going to do. Will I put guy wires to the roots down here? I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to guy wire things to get all those branches down, or I can use heavy wire. But I'm probably going to use guy wires to bring them all down. Now I'm going to go and try that and see if we can work through that and get it all down. It's going to take me a bit of a while. Not much point showing you guys on camera, but I'll show you once I put the guy wire on, and if it works, I'll show you that as well. So just the thought process of now we change the angle of the tree. I might even actually change it. Maybe it'll go more this way, more to the left, more to the right, depending on now how the branches get pulled down. So, but at least now it's forward. Best Nabari goes forward. We know we've got future areas where we're going to shari, so this is a really good front. This is all the branches now need to come down, and at least start that process of bringing the branches down. We might wire some out. We'll see how we go, but it's a long process, and I'll just show you the highlights of what I do and how I'll go about doing it, because otherwise this will be a 2-hour video or more. So, all right. Hope that makes sense, and we'll come back and see what else happens. Okay guys, so I'm back, and you might notice that there is some heavy wire I've placed on a lot of the branching. I haven't placed any guy wires because I actually had a look at the tree, and this tree needed a lot of the branches to be twisted and bent across and sideways rather than just up and down. So guy wire would have pulled them down, but no, I needed to actually go forward in some of the wires. Now I haven't bent any of the branches because I was going to leave that just to show you guys that I've just applied heavy wire on the main branching. I haven't done many of the secondary or tertiary branches at all yet, because I want to really place the main branches, and then I'll know how the secondary will look and if I need to keep any of those, because I can see some of the branches are quite irrelevant and things like that. So again, I've got it at the angle I like. I left that there so that I can know where I can position the tree roughly. It's definitely coming forward. If I just spin it around, yeah, so you can see by wiring a lot of those now I can bring them down into place. A lot of them have to turn and come forward, so we're going to have to try and manipulate it, I guess, the best way I can say it. So this branch here, which is, you can see it's more towards the back, has got to come all the way into here. So that's the plan. I'm going to try and bring it all the way around into here. So there's a bit of work there. Now I put the wire on. It's quite heavy aluminium, 5 to 6 mil I've put on. Now I put it on actually quite tightly together. I didn't make a distance apart. I kept them quite close. Because that acts like a spring, and it acts like protection for the bark so it doesn't split. So that's another little trick, I guess. You still be able to move the branch because of the heaviness of the gauge of wire, and it's aluminium, so it's a bit softer and easier to bend than copper, so you can actually manipulate it a little bit better. Now, I'll use guy wires if I need to later on, once I place a lot of the, if I'm able to swing the branches around, then I will do it. Now, I will try and do it on the camera, but I don't think you're going to be able to see because I have to look at the tree myself. And then maybe if it doesn't work, I'll actually do the work after. I'll do the work out off screen, and then I'll come back and show you. But let me try one of them now. But I'm going to have to, you know, not look at the camera. So I'm just trying to pull this one. It's going to come. It's more towards the back. And I'm going to try and slowly bring that around. And you don't have to always do all the work in one go. You can do the work slowly over time as well. So always checking for cracks, listening out. Oops. Always look for you know, like if it's going to crack. Always look for splitting. So far so good. You don't have to have it on this angle all the time, but I'm just doing it to show you guys. Alright, let me just show you how far we've come. Doesn't look like much now, but it was all the way at the back. Now it's, I'm trying to show you, it was all the way back here. Now it's come right into here, which is good. Now it's more, we've got to start tweaking the branches and positioning them in place. So it's going to take me a bit of time to get that right. But you can see with heavy gauge wire, I was able to move the branch pretty much all the way around. Now the thing with aluminium, and when you want to do this heavy work, is I've almost used the same gauge aluminium as the thickness of the branch. So it's almost, there's probably 3/4 there, the thickness, or the same size. So just something to note, that really heavy gauge will work on these sides of branches, and you can really get the branch right across. So I don't want the video to go too long, but I'll come back and show you some of the more bigger tweaks we put into it, and how at least the skeleton of this tree is going to look. Now I haven't removed anything, I've just pulled wire. Remember I said I don't really trim it. I don't really trim it this time of year. I don't really trim Shimpakus this time of year because they're growing lots, and the foliage is its strength, so I don't really want to touch too much foliage. It's all about, for me, wiring out the branches and moving the branches into place, because if I wire them now, then it's going to really push out the growth and going to hold that position pretty quickly. So that's why I'm doing the heavy work now of wiring, but not trimming, wiring only, okay? All right. Okay guys, so I'm back with maybe a couple of days later since when I started this tree. Now I've tried to capture roughly where the front is. Now I've pretty much, I'll try and block it out so you can see how I've spread out all the branches. Now I haven't fine wired anything. I've just wired the main branching down and into position of certain spots. Haven't done the secondary mainly, or haven't done much of the secondary wiring and tertiary wiring, so it's very, very rough. But what it gives you is it's kind of placed. Now what I've done is place the main branches where I want them to go. Now there's a lot of if this is the front in here, I know I haven't angled it, which has to go a bit more this way, but it only has to go a little bit now that way because I was able to crank a lot of the branching forward. Now if you look at it from side on, you can see a lot of the branching is now forward. You still got probably a bit too much at the back, which I haven't trimmed, so I'm trying to not trim anything off this tree. It's pretty much a wiring process. I've just wired everything and moved a lot of the key main branches into place, and that was the aim. I didn't want to cut all the branching off because I want those branches to grow into those positions that I want the tree, those branches to eventually be. So by leaving all the branching and all the foliage, it should produce enough photosynthesis and growth this year, coming summer, that it should explode and hold those positions that are wired. So I'm trying to speed up the process. If I cut this all back, then the trees are going to have to try and regenerate all that growth, and it's going to take some time. So by not cutting all that growth back, it allows the tree just to keep going and keep pushing out that energy and that strength. So didn't cut back, just wired. Hopefully the tree will push strong growth. I'll feed it up and keep feeding it throughout the spring, summer, and then we'll see what it looks like in winter, and in autumn, and then I can do some removal of branching and things like that, and start to really thin out the tree and come up with the design. But overall it's nice, full, so you can see it's quite a full rounded shape. Maybe if I lift it up like that, you can see a bit better. I'll lift it down like that, you can see it's just I've just wired it all out, spaced it all out. But what I wanted to do is to try and get everything coming forward, so I don't have to lean the tree so much forward when I repot it. So now it's almost in a very good position where it is. So it's still going for the front with that Besnabari, but by bringing everything forward, a lot of this has been cranked forward. You remember all the branching was up here, now it's all right down here. You can see no raffia, just very heavy aluminium gauge wire and wide all that into place. Now, as I said, haven't got all the tertiary branches wide or even the secondary. I've got some of them just to move them around, some of the key branching, and that's about it. I want this tree to be a lot thinner in the future, but if I went to, as I said, if I thinned this out too much, it would weaken the tree too much. Could even push juvenile growth, which I don't want juvenile growth on Shimpaku. So my process is in stages. You can see that now I've fully wired it. I've done all the air laying off it. I don't want to do any more air layers. This is the tree, this is the branches at the moment. Maybe you never know, it could be an air layer here and there if I eventually want to look at this tree in the future. Yeah, but for now, yeah, stages, wide it. Next stage, let it grow strong. Hopefully those branches fit in those positions. Then I'll come look at it after summer once it's really pushed out all the growth, and then we'll make some decisions on what goes and what stays, and that'll be it. So it's a nice interesting tree. It's got a lot of potential, needs to be a lot smaller, so I just don't want to do that work yet because obviously it'll weaken the tree too much. But anyway guys, more of a piece on, I guess this one's more of a decision, why you make certain decisions with trees and the stages of building a tree. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you would have seen this tree initially, how we've taken air layers off it, how we've made decisions about certain things. Now we've finally did an initial wiring. You know, we'll just follow this tree as it progresses, and I'm pretty confident this will be a pretty awesome tree in the future. It's got all the potential, so we just want to actually get it to a point where, you know, we're refining it, and I'll have copper wire on it when in the refinement stage, but aluminium I'm using at the moment. So anyway, that's a lot of me babbling. Hopefully there's some good little tidbits you can take away from this video, and hope to see you guys soon. Stay tuned for more videos. Take care. See you next time. Bye.